This is the key to success and enjoyment. The earlier young players feel comfortable with the ball, the more their confidence will grow, the better players they'll be. In the early stages, winning isn't important. Having fun and improving skills is. The Coerver coaching method was designed to improve individual soccer skills, and this video series will help you do that, with over 360 of our drills for beginners to more advanced players. Coaches and teachers can choose the most suitable exercises to include in their own programs, combining them with frequent small-sided games. The best way to teach the various movements with the ball is to break them down step by step. Try using your freeze frame or slow motion button to help you. The first video starts with drills for under 10s.
In the beginning of the basic training, it's essential to create the atmosphere for young children where they understand how much enjoyment they can derive from the game if they can control the ball and make moves with the ball in small games. There are 4 different training parts to practice during the basic training to reach this aim. First, the simple ball exercises, as you see here. Second, the real game moves for shielding the ball, changing direction and beating opponents. Third, kicking technique, passing and receiving. And fourth, small games. In this lesson, the first training part, we see the simple movements with the ball, specially developed to give them ball feeling and ball control in the early stages. These movements can be done in a stationary position, as you see here, or moving forward and incorporating them in between tapping the ball from foot to foot. At the beginning, these movements seem strange and difficult for most children, so they prefer to play games only. Everyone must have experienced at some time that there's little enjoyment in doing things of which you have little command. This is a period where the coach has to be patient, persuasive, creative, and spend a lot of time not only with the group, but with the individual. By this encouragement, understanding, and enthusiasm, he can help the young players overcome the difficult beginning. The coaches who have mastered this method encourage and stimulate youngsters to practice at home or with friends outside normal training sessions, till independent practice becomes a matter of habit. Now they practice simple movements with the ball, moving forwards in a large triangle or quadrangle. They roll the ball in front of the body with the inside of the foot, and then stopping the ball with the other foot. The players move forwards using the same moves alternatively with the left and right foot. Speed is not important. While moving forward, the ball is rolled off the instep and stopped with the front part of the sole. All these exercises can be easily done by even the youngest players. Repetition and success are the key. A pull, push and move forward. All these movements with the ball are ideal for starting the development of ball feeling and ball control. The same move using one foot. All these simple ball moves can be done outside the training sessions. The more they develop, the more they enjoy practicing. It's only when you're successful on the ball that something happens inside you during football play. Success on the ball is therefore a condition of enjoying the game. Many of the ball contacts are made with the sole of the foot. The value of such control can be seen at later stages of the program and in actual game application. Moving forward, the players turn the ball into the path of the opposite foot using the tip of the sole. After only a few months, the young players have good control and are able to use both feet well. Whilst walking, the ball is rolled alternatively with the instep and pulled back with the sole of the foot. The players see progress. It's one reason that these very young boys enjoy practicing these simple moves with the ball. In this section, the players develop ball feeling and ball control, with some changes of direction incorporated. The player taps the ball from one foot to the other, moves into the middle of the circle, then moves back. Speed is not important. The knees should be bent and a light touch on the ball is encouraged. Changing direction by stopping the ball with the sole of the foot, stepping past the ball and then changing direction by carrying the ball back with the same foot. The same move, but tapping foot to foot into the middle and back. The young players now realise they can use some of the changes of directions and stops and starts when they play games. This encourages them to be more enthusiastic in their practice. Step around the outside of the ball, turn to face it and take it in the opposite direction with the step over foot. The players practice by adding more touches from one foot to the other. The same step around move with 2 quick touches from one foot to the other. In the beginning, controlling the ball is the central point in every form of practice. This is the absolute condition for their further development as technically creative players and for their enjoyment of the game. The player changes direction, pushing the ball with the front part of the sole across the body. The attention span of young children is limited. Every 10 or 15 minutes, the coach should alternate these simple ball exercises with passing and shooting drills as well as small-sided fun games. Changing direction by pulling the ball back with the sole of the foot and then taking it in the opposite direction with the inside of the same foot. Flexibility, especially in the ankle joint. Coordination improves steadily. The player pulls back the ball with the sole, pushes it forward, quickly stops the ball with the sole of the same foot, steps over it, turns and takes it away with the instep of the same foot. The better the control, the quicker the move. The player taps the ball, then turns to face the ball, whilst simultaneously dragging the ball with the tip of the sole of the opposite foot. Moves with quick touches from one foot to the other. Maximum ball contact. Now the group further develop ball feeling and control with numerous light, quick contacts in a small triangle. The players pull and push the ball around the triangle. They're now being more precise in the angle of the change of direction. All these movements with the ball can be set up in triangles, squares and circles, or moving up and down the field. The player uses the front part of his sole to turn the ball in the direction he wishes to go. Many different movements are taught to the children. They're invariably better at some than others, but at this stage they're encouraged to try them all. The player uses the front of his sole, steps over the ball and takes it to the next corner with quick taps from one foot to the other. Again, all these movements have been designed to be practiced outside normal training sessions. Without ball feeling and good control, it's difficult to progress effectively into other aspects of the game. The player always begins the move slowly. The pace should be comfortable to ensure success, fun and satisfaction. Stepping around the ball and changing direction with the opposite foot. Mobility of the ankle, hip and spine increases. Now, the real game moves, another part of the basic training. In these training sessions, they practice some moves and then accelerate, always in the opposite direction. Here, they suddenly stop the ball with the sole, step over it, and then accelerate in the opposite direction. The players cut the ball with the outside of the foot, change direction, and after a few steps, cut the ball with the inside of the foot. This is a good move to shield the ball, as well as change direction, and helps to develop flexibility in ankle and hip joints. The players change direction by pulling the ball behind the standing leg. This move can also be practiced effectively with a fake kick. Changing direction by pulling the ball around with the top of the sole. Working in formation and in time with each other encourages the young players to concentrate and be an important part of the practice. Dragging the ball back with the sole and pushing away in the opposite direction. Some players progress much more quickly than others. Those who find it difficult need special help and encouragement from the coach. The players move forward, step around the ball with one foot, turn and take the ball back with the inside of the other foot. Again, both feet are used. This encourages players to use both feet equally in practice. Three pairs of two in a triangle formation are practicing the movements with the ball and accelerate in the opposite direction. Practices can be varied in many formats: triangles, squares, circles, or up and down the field. Variety makes the practice more enjoyable for the young players. After having practiced the movements for changing to the opposite direction, they now practice taking the ball to the side. Here the pattern is zigzag. Lanes are marked out. Players go up one lane and come back on the next. The first exercise is cutting the ball with the inside and outside of the foot. Now they're turning with the inside and outside of the foot. Mobility in the hip and ankle joints are required to carry out these movements successfully. Here also, two moves are combined, one after the other. The first, a drag back with the sole. You'll notice the ball is played into the path that the player wants to go. This is a variation of stopping the ball with the sole. In this move, the ball is stopped under the body and taken to the opposite direction with the opposite foot. It's a pleasure to see the progress they've already made. Now the boys practice the step over with the outside foot and take it away with the inside of the other foot. All the movements that have been previously practiced in a zigzag line can also be carried out by pairs, as in this triangle formation. There are many variations for learning the moves with the ball and developing ball feeling and ball control. Receiving the ball and kicking technique is one of the 4 training parts during the basic training, designed to create an atmosphere for steady technical development and enjoyment. Again, the attention span of young players is limited. Each 10 or 15 minutes, the coach should alternate these simple ball exercises with passing and shooting drills, as well as small-sided fun games. Dribbling and shooting at goal are favourite in all practice. They're too young at this stage to have power. The greater the ball feeling, the faster they develop their shooting abilities. At this age, specially designed mobile goals are essential not only for effective and constant repetition, but also for making an enjoyable practice. That's one reason they look forward to the next training session. Here in this formation of the 4 goals, they're already practicing a simple but successful move to beat an opponent. They have the option to pass or shoot themselves. Dribbling, shooting and scoring is what they love. The coach gives them as many opportunities as possible. Step by step, they improve their ability to create goal chances. They'll enjoy their steady development. Coaches should always try to be creative in the training session so the player obtains maximum value as well as enjoyment. Also in this formation of the 4 goals, the children practice constantly, effectively and intensively, but it's fun all the time. These mobile goals are ideal for an enjoyable and flowing practice. It's important that players look forward to the next training session. Before each practice, the coach should give simple, brief tips only. But the best teacher is practice and more practice. Constant, effective repetition, together with enthusiasm and spirit, guarantee success. Here, they're practicing some moves for beating an opponent, after which they kick the ball in the net. They're encouraged to choose their own move. It's a condition of the practice that they beat an opponent before shooting. Taking initiative and making independent decisions should be learned at the earliest possible age. Spontaneity is all important at this age. The players are not always looking for instructions from the coach on when and how to play the game. Here, the small goals are set out so the practice can be held with minimum interruption. Again, constant repetition and frequency of strikes is crucial. These goals are ideally suited for practice in various formation in groups of 2, 3 or 4 players. The ball is within reach all the time for constant repetition. As we said, all practice should be alternated every 15 minutes with small fun games or on-goal shooting. Playing small games is one of the 4 parts making up the basic training. The goal here is to develop versatile, confident dribblers. 1 against 1 or 2 against 2 is ideal. The players get touches of the ball and are always encouraged to put all their energies to keep possession and dribbling past their opponents. Failure is not important. The object is to try and waste as little time as possible and as little energy as possible in preventing the other players from dribbling. In this early stage, the player in the defending role is more a partner and makes full challenges. The players are encouraged to work together and help each other. The result doesn't matter. Their aim is to encourage the youngsters to enjoy their newly acquired ball skills by constantly trying them out. Youngsters must dare to play with risk, flair and confidence. That's the reason why initiative with the ball is always encouraged, always challenged. Here, 1 against 1, instead of wasting time and energy on pointless exercises or playing 11 against 11 matches where ball contact is minimal and game action is limited. The small boys playing 2 against 2 here won't dream of passing the ball before using one of their newly acquired moves. The coach encourages the children to take the initiative on the ball without fear of failure and try the moves they've learnt as frequently as possible. Like all top players at this age, success with the ball by taking initiative in these small games is, for these boys, the source of inspiration for playing soccer every day. In this section, groups of 3 players practice real game moves for shielding the ball and switching to the opposite direction. Now they pull the ball behind the standing leg and move off in the opposite direction. Here, they're cutting the ball with the inside and outside foot. Since the practices are physically demanding, the coach may include light footwork exercises between each practice. Now the youngsters step around the ball, turn and bring it away with the opposite foot. A passive opponent is introduced to assist their timing. These 6-year-old boys show how quick progress can be. Everyone must have experienced at some time that there's little enjoyment in doing things of which you have little command. Most pleasure is to be found in doing things you command well. Success on the ball is therefore a condition of enjoying practice. This exercise incorporates many skills: first-time passing, receiving, taking the ball on the run, shielding and changing direction. Repeating the movements in many varied and attractive exercises are the pillars in these learning processes. The young players in yellow assist their younger colleagues. Giving responsibility to the players early builds up a trusting relationship. Players learn important values by their performance both on and off the field. The player with the ball moves to the empty corner and, as he's attacked, cuts the ball with the outside of the foot, shielding it, then moving off into the other direction. The coach emphasizes the importance of totally shielding the ball with the body. At this very early age, they've mastered the technique against passive opponents, which will make it much easier at a later stage to use under full pressure. The movements, even at this stage, are becoming fluid. The control improves dramatically. The coach explains clearly what he's trying to achieve and the reasons, so the player is left in no doubt what is required. Drag back and pass. 3 players take turns to beat their opponents with a drag back and push, then pass the ball and become passive defenders. Now they practice with groups of 3. Kicking technique, a good touch and overall ball control are developed. All exercises can be made progressively more demanding by increasing speed and distance. The object here is to keep the ball moving. Players have to concentrate on their touch and accuracy. At the same time, because 2 balls are in motion, they must look beyond their immediate pass. This practice can be adapted to senior players by increasing distance and speed. The first touch of the ball when receiving is crucial and one of the most important marks of truly great players. The moves are repeated in this section, but here there is equal emphasis on striking the ball as well as shielding, turning and changing direction. Kicking technique with the inside of the foot. The coaches emphasize the importance of moving towards the ball when receiving it and picking it up on the run. Again, this practice can be made more demanding by increasing distance. However, young children have limited power, so all exercises should be tailored to their physical capabilities. In this lesson, groups of 4 players practice together to develop the moves with the ball, ball feeling and ball control. 1 player is designated to give the command to start. This gives added responsibility to the player. The players can determine their own speeds. Again, many repetitions continue to improve kicking and receiving. One of the advantages of this method is that many players can work in small areas. This practice in triangles. Players practice the moves to the right and left. This method introduces young children the enjoyment of the game, while at the same time teaching them skills which will make them more dominating in the game. Shielding is an important skill. Here the players shield the ball and take it away from opponents. You can see their concentration clearly. The assistant coaches watching look on in appreciation. Another exercise for improving passing, shielding, receiving and taking the ball away. The players are also encouraged to look up after the move so they can pass the ball accurately and with the right strength. A first-time pass. The move is made at exactly the right time and place. The players work together, practicing, shielding and taking the ball away. Again, they're encouraged to look up. The angles of changes of direction are varied dependent on the opponent's approach. These practices give the young players some experience of this and develop step-by-step ability to dominate in different one-against-one situations. Now the groups of 4 players practice receiving and passing. Here they practice some moves combining passing with the inside foot. The same formation. Step on, change direction, but this time the player moves along the line and angles the pass to the opposite corner. The use of 2 balls also makes this a fun and challenging exercise. The player in the middle passing the ball always to the right. The players look up to ensure they're in time, again an important next step. The players must always concentrate, otherwise the quality of the pass or the whole exercise breaks down. The player passes the ball, then moves in as a passive opponent. The receiver plays a 1-2 combination past him and the sequence is repeated. Constant movement and touches of the ball are essential to develop ball feeling. The ball is stopped with the sole, a short pass to a colleague and a longer pass for the sequence to be repeated. Players switch positions each time, gradually increase speed and distance. Short pass, long pass. Distance can be varied by the coach. Again, this can be easily adapted to the older players by increasing distance and ball speed. The players have so many ball contacts, they begin to feel more and more comfortable with the ball. Groups of 4 players practice together in a square. One player gives the command to go. On the command, the boys move to the centre, make their move and go on to the next corner, all moves being practiced to the left and right. As soon as the players are challenged, they make a move and pass to their who does the same. As with most of the practices, the defending player is, at this stage, a helpful partner rather than opponent. The player avoids the challenge from the side by shielding the ball at the right time and moving into another direction. The players are always encouraged and stimulated to use the same moves as often as possible and at the right moment in small games. Timing is vital in executing the move. The very young players have grown in confidence and skill after so much time spent with the ball. The more confidence, the more enjoyment can be had by practicing this sort of exercise and playing small games. The program is enjoyable. That can be seen from the reaction of these young players. Here, the player beats one opponent individually and then uses a teammate with a 1-2 combination to beat the next one. The players increasingly realize the value of the skills they are using. Players use the drag back and on top of the sole turn to avoid challenges and move into space. Players change positions at regular intervals so all can practice both moves. It is essential to keep practicing the many variations during the first 3 years of basic training, that is, from 6 to 9 years old, in order to master touch and control and always taking more initiative with the ball in the small games. Here the ball is played into a free corner. The strength of the pass is important. Now the 4 players practice kicking techniques and develop ball feeling and ball control, combined in the following exercises. Once the players' ball skills improve, they're better able to enjoy all aspects of the game. Here, first-time passing in combination play, control receiving and passing the ball effortlessly by making 1-2 combinations. One-touch passing again, pass and make yourself available. Support the player with the ball to make the 1-2 combination. It will be practiced many times in this training session. The players understand that they now have options to beat opponents, either individually with moves they've been taught, or in combination play by good passing. Young players learning the value of supporting each other. Now they learn to call for the ball. Initiative when in or out of possession is important. Combination passing with the players alternating in their roles. Many of these practices are suitable for senior players and can be adapted by gradually increasing distance and passing speed, as well as stronger challenges to win the ball by the defending player. The couple continually interchange positions after making 1-2 combinations. The ball is always played first time. Distance and speed of passing are gradually increased. Short pass, long pass. The players in white pass the ball long, the player in blue passes the ball short. This exercise is also suitable for the older players and can be challenging to all levels when speed and distance are increased. As with other exercises, this one can be started at walking pace and gradually increased. One player always plays the ball back short. The 3 others make, in turn, a 1-2 combination. In this lesson, groups of 6 players practice game moves, changing direction and shielding the ball. Here, one player of each pair keeps the ball out of reach of the opponent. The player without the ball makes a limited challenge. The exercises are varied. This time the format is a circle. The players again work in pairs, passing into the middle with an outside of the foot cut, then back to the starting point before passing the ball along the circle. Each pair interchanges. Also, this exercise can be practiced in both directions. The same format as the previous exercise. Now the players cut the ball and instead of going back in the same direction, move away at an angle to the free cone. As they challenge, they change direction again and pass the ball onto the pair next to them. Here the players use a step on and over the ball, pass it and join the opposite group. This practice can be reasonably accommodated by less or more players, and all the changes of direction movements can be continually practiced. Players in groups of 3. The player beats his opponent, passes the ball, and becomes the opponent. The sequence continues. Two groups of 3 players practice against opponents who challenge from the side and then pass to the next group. Again, these exercises are set up so they are continuous and all players regularly interchange. One of the most important individual skills is to be able to threaten to pass your opponent on one side but go the opposite way. There are only a few top players who really excel in this technique. Because of this, it's essential that these movements be practiced at as early an age as possible, beginning with easy movements and gradually raising the degree of difficulty step by step until the player can apply them in competitive matches. Two lines of players. Again, the coach can determine the number of players he wants to use. Players take turns to move towards each other with a ball, make a move and join the opposite line. You'll notice that the slightly older boys, 8 and 9 years old, because of the height, are able to bend their knees more and consequently are more fluid and supple than the younger boys, who are more erect. Most of these exercises are designed to accommodate many players in small spaces, while obtaining continuous ball contacts. 3 pairs of 2 practice the moves in turn and push the ball to the next corner. All these moves can be alternatively practiced in both directions. This exercise will also be seen during the build-up section later in the program, in which all movements and the speed of performance are perfected. The coordination and control, even at this early stage, has reached a good level mainly due to the countless ball contacts and repetition of the techniques. Three players work in a triangle, continuously interchanging roles. Players of all ages generally prefer to be continuously involved rather than waiting relatively long periods for their turn on the ball. All the drills can be practiced in both directions. The youngsters should often be told that they're being prepared in real game skills, skills that will make them better players. Without these ball skills, every player is powerless in the many different one-against-one situations. In this session, 6 players practice their kicking technique, developing ball feeling and ball control. One-two first-time passing. 2 players are wall passers, interchanging between passer and opponent, each player changing roles. Accurate first-time passing again. 3 players practicing kicking technique, going up and down with a 1-2 combination with a player supporting on the left and right. First-time passing. Even the youngest boys perform this exercise easily. Distance and ball speed is reduced to guarantee success. Two balls are now introduced. This makes the exercise more challenging and more fun too. This exercise can be suitable for older boys by increasing distance and ball speed. Variation is necessary for maximum concentration and involvement. 15 boys between 6 and 9 years old demonstrate the first part of the method. This is only after a few months of practice. Each has gained in skill, confidence and now have an appetite for the game. Three balls, even more concentration required. They're in continuous motion, while at the same time perfecting their ball feeling through so many touches on the ball. The change of direction movements are included in many passing drills. Just as in a game, the better their touch, the easier they can retain possession. Another fun practice. The players work in a small triangle, moving forward and back heeling to their partners to repeat. Again, the same format, except now they turn and pass. This is one they enjoy. The ball is touched round in the incoming player and passed on. It's important the ball is played at the right pace, so it becomes almost one movement, from touching the ball on and taking it away. Through passing. A longer pass is now introduced. Both the short pass and the longer through pass should be accurate and played at the right pace. 1-2 combinations up and down the field. Also in this drill, they learn to look over the ball. If they don't, they're not able to coordinate their timing, so the practice breaks down. The next 13 exercises feature players in groups of 8. Again, in this method, a coach needs very little space to keep many players continuously occupied. Each pair interchange between attackers and passive defender. These changes of direction movements are almost second nature since they've repeated them so many times. Moving around in a circle, the player with the ball beats the opponent, then passes the ball along to the next player to repeat. Moving upfield, beating opponents with 1-2 combinations. This exercise convinces them of the usefulness of accurate passing and good touch. This time the ball is passed into an angle whilst moving. Again, the player has to look up to make sure his pass is accurate. All these exercises, whilst done here by 6 to 9-year-old boys, can be adapted for older players, provided distance and ball speed are increased. Four balls are introduced. The players must work together, look up, and remember that the timing of the pass is important. As we near the end of the basic training, it's apparent that the progressive use of this method has given these players the confidence and touch that will be invaluable to them in the next parts of the program. Enjoyment and confidence is all important. The player again avoids the challenge by shielding and changing direction, passing the ball to his partner and becoming defender in turn. No player is left standing waiting for his turn for more than a few seconds. Here, they always use the sole of the foot to shield and beat their opponents. Players learn to avoid challenges by going to the left after faking to go to the right. Again, the same formation practicing in the other direction. Now they use the outside of the foot to change direction. Beat a player and through pass to a teammate. The receiving player should take the ball on the run. Here, distance can be increased. As we suggested at the start, it's essential to create an atmosphere for young children where they see how much fun the game can be, especially if they can control the ball and make moves in small games. As you've seen, to reach this aim, we use 4 different training parts. The simple ball contact exercises, as seen here. The moves that can be used in games. Kicking technique, passing and receiving. And small games. In these last 2 training sessions of the basic training, the group briefly goes through the 4 parts. The simple movements with the ball give them, in the beginning, ball feeling and ball control. Remember, these movements can be done in a stationary position or moving forwards and tapping the ball from foot to foot, as seen now. The majority of players don't have exceptional innate talent. This method addresses itself to improve the level of confidence and enjoyment of the majority. In the beginning, a lot of patience is needed because progress can be slow and the attention span of young children is short. The coach's goal is to convince the player that it's entirely up to him what level he reaches. In other words, that regular practice is needed, and not only in training sessions, but mainly out of them, on their own. Here the boys practice some of the simple ball contact exercises, moving forwards in the length or breadth of the field. Without a feel for the ball, you cannot play football. As you've seen by the second part of the basic training, the players are practicing some real game moves for shielding the ball, changing direction and beating opponents. Here they practice some moves and then accelerate in the opposite direction. As the film shows, some of the ball skills of the best players can and should be mastered at the earliest possible age. The earlier the start, the more naturally these skills will be absorbed. Concentration on ball skills and taking initiative with the ball in small games is our goal right from lesson 1. Attractive and effective teaching of the ball skills and learning to use them in small games is crucial for youngsters to enjoy practice at an early age and become more and more involved in playing soccer. It's only when you're successful on the ball that something happens inside you during football play. Success with the ball brings more enjoyment, confidence, self-belief, and is the best motivator for further practice, also independently. If young players experience a form of soccer which brings them success, it's unlikely that they will choose another sport instead of soccer. That's why attractive and effective teaching of these ball skills and step-by-step learning to use them in small games is crucial for the future of the game and to enjoy practice at an early age. Now the boys practice some game moves and then accelerate to the other side. Without doubt, soccer becomes better and much more attractive if each player can keep possession and at the right moment can get past one or more opponents to create a better opportunity or goal chance. By training youngsters in the same way that the best players develop, they will always be completely aware of the purpose of their exercises. This not only increases their interest in the exercises, but the coach will also find it easier and more interesting to discuss their development both individually and with the entire group. He should involve everybody in the discussion to find out how the youngsters feel and understand their experiences. As in school, two-way dialogue between teacher and pupil is important. Strong and weak points are discussed openly. As in school, they learn to think about their achievements and compare them with their fellow players. The coach gives the players, as young as possible, the responsibility for their own progress or lack of it, and clearly understand the aims of their training program. In this way, players become aware that regular, effective practice and an excellent training mentality are essential to give them a chance of becoming really great players with a positive attitude. It's not difficult for the players to understand that it's up to them to take advantage of what's offered to them. In this way, the coach lays out the basics, not only for their technical and creative improvement, but also for their awareness and mental development as soccer players. Mental development and awareness guarantee quick progress.